What's up, everyone? I hope you all are doing well. So you're thinking about moving to Florida? Well, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about some of the things I think you should be considering before you make that decision. So let's get right to it. Also, make sure you stay until the end because I'm going to be giving you a bonus tip that I'm sure that you haven't considered yet when thinking about moving to Florida. First thing we're going to talk about is location. Have you ever heard the saying location? Well, location matters. Proximity to grocery stores, restaurants, hospitals. If you want to be near a gym, which is important, that's important to me. I love working out, so I have to be close to a gym. But if that's important to you, the gym, if you have pets, if you want to be near a groomer's, it is very important to figure out what your situation is and what is a must-have for you in terms of the proximity to where you live, to those locations. So let's talk about number 2, which will be crime rates. You want to check out the crime rates in that area. Make sure that you investigate and find out the statistics before you make a decision on whether or not you want to live there. And bonus tip, I always recommend my buyers to drive by the neighborhood, not only during the day, but stop by there at night and kind of see what is going on in that area. Sometimes it can look a little different from day to night. So that is a tip for me. I always tell my buyers to do that. Okay, so the next one that we're going to talk about is schools. If schools are something that's very important to you, then you want to make sure you check out the ratings on the schools. And if you are thinking about putting your children in private schools, if they have any private schools in the area within the proximity of where you're moving to. So that's another important thing to consider as well. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is going to be your commute to work. If you are going to be working from home, then you'll be fine, right? Obviously, but if you are going to be commuting, what highways, tolls, roads, how much is it going to cost you, back and forth? So that is something to consider as well. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about going along with the location theme is whether or not you want to live in the city or in the suburbs. So you want to live near the theme parks, or you want to live, near downtown Orlando where all the hustle and bustle is. That is going to cost you much more to live there than, let's say, if you live like in the suburbs or somewhere a little more remote where you'd have to travel a little bit more of a distance to get to these places. So if that is something that you're flexible with, you could potentially be saving thousands and thousands of dollars. So the other thing you want to consider is if you choose to live, let's say in the city like downtown Orlando, everybody wants to live near or around downtown Orlando. So not only will you be paying more for the property, you'll be paying higher taxes that will affect your monthly payments. So taxes are another thing that you need to consider if you're thinking about purchasing a home here in Florida. So let's get to the next one. The other thing you want to consider if you're thinking about moving to Florida is whether or not you want to move by the beach or if you want to move inland. If you're thinking about moving to the beach, then you will also have to factor in flood insurance in addition to the regular homeowners insurance. So that could be very pricey as these days insurance rates have gone up significantly. So that is something else that you want to, make sure you think about. All right, everyone. So let's talk about hurricanes. I always get this question asked a lot about how hurricanes affect us inland. And honestly, I've been here 30 years and been through quite a few hurricanes in Florida, but the one that affected us inland here in the Central Florida area was Hurricane Charlie. But other than that, the majority of hurricanes, once they hit the coast and by the time they get here, we just honestly get some rain, some tropical force storm winds, sometimes flooding. If hurricanes are a concern to you, then you may want to consider inland versus living on the coast. So the next thing that you want to think about when moving to Florida is whether or not you want to be in a community that requires HOA dues. If there is no HOA, basically you can do whatever you want in that community. You can paint your house whatever color you want. You can have a commercial vehicle there. However, if you are in a community that requires requires HOA dues, then, which stands for homeowners association, then you need to abide by the rules and regulations of that community. You need to make sure before you sign a contract that you read those rules and regulations, because there may be something in there that you do not agree with, and then you can get out of the contract before you close on the home, find out later that could cause a really huge problem. So you need to make sure which way you want to go, whether or not you want to live in a community with no HOA, especially if you have a business and you own a commercial vehicle, then maybe you need to live in a community that does not have an HOA versus one that has an HOA. And also, speaking about HOAs, the other thing to consider is the fees that are associated with the HOA. The more amenities community has, for example, if the community has a pool, a fitness center, golf course, all those things, the higher the association dues are going to be, the monthly dues are going to be. The less amenities that there are, then the lower the HOA dues are going to be. So that is something to consider, because that will also, factor into your budget for your monthly payment. Going back to the association dues before we get to the very last one and your bonus tip, one more thing I'm going to say about that is if you are thinking about purchasing a townhome, the HOA dues can be significantly higher as well versus a single family home. So you have to take those things into consideration. The very last thing you need to consider if you think about purchasing a home here in Florida is whether or not you want a brand new home or an existing home. Of course, the differences, aside from the fact that you're getting a brand new house with warranty from the builder, is that the builder helps you pay for most, if not all, of your closing costs, which can be a huge help if you don't have enough money for the down payment and closing costs. So that could be a really good benefit for you, which, by the way, if you're thinking about purchasing a brand new home, please, another tip is to use a real estate agent, because the salesperson there at the builder is looking out for the interests of the seller, which is the builder, and not your best interest. So it's important that you have representation. So please, and it doesn't cost you anything at all. It won't affect the price of the home or anything, and you'll have somebody that's looking out for your best interest from the beginning until the end. So that's super important as well. But the bonus tip that I was going to give you is, some people don't think about the fact that in an existing home, let's say the house is about, let's say, 10 years old, the insulation in that home, the way that the builder constructed the home in terms of the insulation, the windows and things like that, are not the way, the efficiency is not the way that they are constructed now. So you will be most likely paying more for your electric bill than, let's say, a brand new home where, they're more energy efficient. Unless you purchase an existing home, that has been updated. But that is something to consider, that sometimes, people don't weigh the pros and the cons. They may be paying a little less for an existing home, but they don't see that in the long run, you're going to be paying more or less as if you purchase a brand new home. And I'll catch you all on my next video. Bye.